Alright, guys, so our next Patreon request comes from Cyborg19.99, who asked me to do a what would they think between two characters, and those being Ozpin from Ruby and Charles Xavier from, of course, the X-Men. So, what would it be like if these two met? I can only imagine what these two morally gray, headmasters who put students' lives in constant danger despite and ignoring all the risks no matter what happens to their students. I can't imagine, what kind of things they would talk about. Really, I just can't see that. I can totally see the connection. These two characters, like Ozpin and Xavier, quite literally are the one and the same, except I don't think Ozpin's ever wanted to fuck one of his students, because as we all know, Xavier at one point did want to date Jean. He wanted to bang Jean at one point. Let's not forget that. So I don't think Ozpin has that. Also, I don't think Ozpin has the same level of god complex that Xavier has in the Krakoa era of comics. So yeah, I don't think that's a major issue for him at the moment. But that's just me, though. That's just my personal thought on the whole matter. So what would they think of each other? I think Ozpin would generally think of Xavier as like someone who's willing to take risks, as someone who is willing to do anything for not only his students, but his entire race and for the future of that planet. I do think, though, that I do, however, see that Ozpin would definitely consider that, especially with the lengths that Xavier has done in the Krakoan era of comics, I do kind of think that he would be like, you're kind of having a god complex, aren't you, Xavier? And Xavier would be, and in turn, I think Xavier would be like, it's not a god complex when your people have been put against genocide again and again and again. It's really, it's not a god complex when God has been trying to kill you for, millennia. So you'll excuse me if I don't share that kind of same thought process. So I do think they would differ in that regard. I definitely think that would be kind of another kind of slippery slope for the two of them. As for how they would kind of interact with each other, I do kind of see that Xavier would kind of see that Ozpin through the ages. Like, I think if Xavier would reach into Ozpin's mind, he would see that all of the pain, all of just all the just losses he suffered at the hands of Salem, who he helped create, who he basically helped create this monster. It would definitely be like a somber story for it. Would be he would be like, yeah, I really do feel that pain for you guys. Yeah, the fact that you have to live with that trauma and horror is nothing short of just heartbreaking. Would be nothing short of heartbreaking for Xavier to deal with, honestly. So that's something I think I could definitely see the two of them the two of them kind of connecting with, because Xavier's had his share of lost loves here and there. I think also Ozpin and Xavier, after the first Ozpin's whole thing about a god complex and whatnot, I think he would generally be like, you do what you do because you have to. You were not given any other option by those around you. I think he would understand what Xavier was trying to do, and I think he would try to comprehend that, while Xavier would kind of understand that, yeah, at least I'm not the only person who had to justify everything I did, from erasing that Scott had another brother, and sending him during a group of other untrained X-Men to the island of Krakoa, before Wolverine and the others. Yeah, that was a thing. Not a good thing, but it was a thing. And yeah, I did, like, in the end, I think, like, they would have, like, a mutual... I think the two of them would have, like, a mutual respect for one another by the end of it all. So that's how I kind of see... What would Xavier think? That's how I kind of see this whole meeting between Xavier and Ozpin would really play out between the two. A kind of mutual respect. By the end of it, it would be like a mutual respect between the two of them. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of this? What do you think it would be like? What would Ozpin think of Xavier? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, I'd like to thank Cyborg 19.99 for this request and for their continued patronage. And like I've said before, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can hit the 4th tier and start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.